I am able again to enter my mind deeply into a stream of thought after a long absence disturbed by the mundaneness of my human existence. I find myself in a paradox caused by the limitations of the very words that exist. I am forced by this exercise to examine what we call nature. If we look directly at what I perceive to be natural, it seems the very description allows nature to be everything not affected by humans. As somehow the idea of nature is everything excluding our very existence. Again, being limited by the idea of how we use the very word brings me to the conclusion that we are unnatural. Somehow we are outside of nature, or we are, in some way, an abomination of nature, or even the natural course of being. I find it odd that people use phrases like humans are destroying nature when we were actually created by nature. And if that is true, our actions to destroy must be part of the natural process. If our ability to destroy what we call nature is an abomination of nature, then the only conclusion is that we are unnatural, a mistake, something created that would be considered outside the natural order of things. Again, I'm limited by the very words that we have created to describe our condition, our reality. If I try hard to describe the human as part of nature, it is not difficult to meet the minimum criteria. Criteria for being of nature must exist, and I find it difficult to describe humans as anything but natural. We were created by nature and, like all things in nature, are driven by the unending desire to procreate and evolve. This leads me to the conclusion that humans, as we exist, are no different than an ant or a fish or even a weed in the garden. We have no ability to limit our desire to procreate, which to me, in my limited description of natural, is the minimum criteria. Now, on the rare occasion I bring this exercise from a stream of pure thought to reality, I will list a simple example. We, as humans, have the ability to see we are destroying the environment that will be required for our future existence, at least as much as what would be the current condition. But we have no ability, because of my description of the criteria of nature, to express the truth. Every real-world description of discussion on the subject of destroying the environment creates a stream of blame. Fossil fuels, deforestation, plastics, agriculture, livestock. The list we create is nothing but a falsehood, a blind narrative we create to fool ourselves from reality. The only one and true destroyer of what we would call our natural environment is overpopulation. The odd paradox of this conclusion is, no matter how many environmental discussions we have as humans, or how intelligent we pretend to be on this subject, this never becomes the conclusion. The very fact in the definition of humans as a natural being will not allow this conclusion, as simple and as obvious as it may be. The only hope I see for human existence in its current existence is to reach this conclusion and somehow create a state in which we think beyond what would be considered to be in the natural tendency. We will eventually follow the natural course of existence otherwise, and a correction will be made. Nature will continue without humans, as the requirements of our existence will have been destroyed. The very ideas that would eventually save us we consider taboo, for we are anything but what would be considered above nature. I rarely am able to complete a stream of thought and finally arrive at a conclusion, but in the case of human survival I will. We are no different from any living thing, and because we cannot separate ourselves from nature, we will continue to procreate beyond our own sustainability. We have no ability to communicate this fact in a way that will allow us to curb the inevitable and find the very idea beyond the very thought path that would bring us to a solution to such a simple problem. The drive built into our DNA is more powerful than any logic we can or will create.